Hi, this is Dustin Perry, the Paranormal Rockstar, and you're listening to the Ghost Host with the most, Sophia Temperilli, only on liveparanormal.com.
Today we welcome Syfy Channel's Ghost Hunters and GHI co-host, investigator, and producer. He's the co-founder of TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society. He's a musician, artist, author, and game designer, Grant Wilson. I want to thank Lindsay Center from Center Stage Events for making today's interview with Grant possible, and visit Center Stage Events, everyone, for your tickets to the Voyage to the Other Side event aboard the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. The event will be hosted by Grant Wilson on January 19th. Everyone visit grantswilson.com, rather-games.com, centerstageevents.com, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Grant S. Wilson. And everyone make sure to catch What the Fetch Weekly series with Grant and his wife Rayanne on YouTube, Grant Wilson. Let's welcome Grant into the show.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Hey Grant, I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
So it was a lot of fun meeting you way back when I was just starting out in the paranormal field. So you know, it's very cool to come full circle and now be interviewing you about your event on the Queen Mary upcoming.
I know, it's amazing to see how far you've come. Congratulations. I think everyone who met you knew you were going to do something great. So good job.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me at the event.
My pleasure.
Speaking of events, you are going to be at the Voyage to the Other Side event aboard the Queen Mary upcoming. Can you tell us a little bit about the event and what the audience can expect from participating in the event?
So it's going to be really nice. We've got access to the rope room on the ship, which is notoriously haunted but hard to access. You used to be able to check it out on the tour, but it's since become exclusive to this event. And you're going to meet Aidan Sinclair and see his Illusions of the Past show, which is fantastic. He does these amazing illusions, but he ties in history and story with it, and it really brings history alive. And his tricks, I guess, are just, his illusions are amazing. We'll have a Q&A. People can come ask me any questions and hang out, take pictures, whatever. And you know, there's, I guess, if you buy a ticket, you'll be entered a chance to have dinner with me. I don't know how flattering that'll be, but you can come and hang out with me for dinner. And then we'll investigate the rope room. But what I really like about this event is I've been doing events for years, and you know, the investigations are always more of a learning opportunity than an actual investigation. And this will be that way, but I always felt bad. Like, I'd sit there and the group would come in and I'd say, if there's anybody here, you know, can you show us your presence and all that? And then the group would get up and leave, and the next group would come in and I'd do the same thing. And in between groups, I'd like talk to the entities to help them understand what I'm trying to do. But I always felt like we were trying to make contact, but without any promise of help. And so this event is very different, where every month, you know, different investigators will be there, and and we can, you know, whatever I learn or experience on my event, I can pass on to the next one, and it's scheduled every month, so the entities will start to understand the schedule, and hopefully we can make some progress.
No, it's definitely very cool to kind of have that different perspective too from different investigators, because everyone has kind of different investigative styles, even though kind of the basis of what everyone's trying to do is the same. So you never know what results you're going to get or which person really a spirit might interact with more.
Exactly, and then the spirits might find that they, you know, if I go back and do another event there, or Chad Lindbergh does, or whoever, you know, the spirits may react differently. And it's just nice to have that, you know, that same space but different things happening, have that control, and be able to try to really make some progress. And I think it may sound self-defeating, but I think that the goal of the whole event series would be to figure out who's there and what help they need, and move it along, and then maybe we can move to another part of the ship. Who knows?
And I may be wrong, but I do believe that the rope room is one of the more recently discovered rooms aboard the Queen Mary. I know a few of the locations were recently kind of re-uncovered after many years of being sealed up behind walls.
Yeah, this one was, like I said, it's tucked away, and because Aidan Sinclair started doing his show there, they opened up the space, and gave us more access to this room. And I know that there are, yeah, you're absolutely correct. There are other spaces that were actually open when I investigated back in the day for the show that have since closed, and I think they're trying to reopen them.
Yeah, it's definitely very cool to see more places uncovered, and it's such a large ship, so really you never know what you're going to get or what new ghosts will be in that certain area, because they may have just wanted to hang out there for however long because it was kind of secluded and isolated.
Yeah, or I mean, there's 100 reasons why something could be there, and honestly, if we're doing these regular scheduled investigations where the information is passed to the next group in an area, things, entities might come to us because word spreads, they might be able to say, hey, we're getting help over here, and it would attract other entities, and, maybe it'll become bigger than just that space, that entities who need help can be coming from all over because they know when we're going to be where.
And everyone, for tickets and details regarding Saturday's Voyage to the Other Side event aboard the Queen Mary with Grant, visit centerstageevents.com. It's going to be a great event, so everyone definitely make sure to check it out.
Grant, I know that Amy Bruni and Adam Berry will also be returning on this show next Saturday, promoting the Season 3 launch of Kindred Spirits on Travel Channel. And you were recently featured with Josh Gates on Expedition Unknown, along with Amy and Adam, for a series special aboard the Queen Mary. Are there any upcoming appearances that you can let us know regarding upcoming shows or series that you'll be a part of?
I think so. I mean, no one specifically told me not to say anything. But yeah, I was on Josh's show and then his after show. And it was neat. What you didn't really see too much was our underwater investigation there. He jumped in the propeller area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I don't have my scuba certification, so I stayed up top. But they didn't really show what happened in there. There was this, Josh started hearing, he and his cameraman started hearing the sound of the engines going. And you could hear it. I couldn't hear it at first, but then you could hear it on the hydrophone, the microphone down in the water. And I had Josh go around and touch all the different surfaces to see if there was something vibrating, and nothing was vibrating. And the whole time out in the hallway next to me, it sounded like someone was dragging tables down the hallway, like big metal tables. And, I looked out there, and there were a few members of crew, and they're just sitting there like, we don't know what the sound is or where it's coming from. But yeah, I mean, Amy and Adam are real close friends of mine, and I know they called me in on a case for their show, and so I went and helped them on an episode, so you should expect to see me there, hopefully. And there's a web series that I really like called Haunt Me out of Maine with Ty Gowan and those guys, and I did a cool case with them. So that's a YouTube thing, but not a TV thing. So keep your eye on that. Yeah.
Well,
and
congratulations
more. There's more, but I can't talk about it yet.
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations on all of your upcoming appearances and being on Expedition Unknown.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely also think, in my personal opinion, that the propeller room is kind of one of the more interesting rooms on the ship. I would say I don't necessarily like going in there. I get like a really weird feeling. I think it's partially because the floor is slanted, so I keep feeling like I'm gonna fall into the propeller, which just kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, and it's a weird room anyway. I mean, it's a bit inside, outside, and the light plays a little weird. So yeah, the acoustics are odd. It's just an odd room.
Yeah, I've been in there a few times where I've actually heard like whistling from absolutely nowhere. There's no one around, and there's just full-on whistling as if there's just someone walking around, and it's
interesting.
Like nothing I've ever really seen before. So it's one of those places that it's just weird to capture something there because, you know, no one could really stand outside the propeller beforehand. But with, you know, the collision with the carousel, you don't really know who's there.
Exactly. Or, you know, one of my favorite stories, because I've been to the Queen Mary many times, and one of my favorite stories was in the pool room, which I think they can't access right now, but they're working on it. I guess they're trying to make it safer in there. But we were doing an event, and it was kind of after hours after the investigation. And I don't know, 10 or 12 of us, I don't remember exactly how many were there, in the pool area. We were there, and we had a K2 meter going, and everybody was, you know, kind of just chilling there and really kind of mellow. And this K2 meter was responding, this entity was responding through the K2 meter flawlessly. I mean, we were asking control questions and trying to trick the entity, and it was answering consistently the whole time, and it gave the appearance that we were talking to a young girl. And every once in a while through our conversation, the lights on the K2s would go crazy, but it was in a rhythm. And so the third or fourth time it was doing that, I was watching it and trying to figure out what this rhythm is. And of course, everyone's like, turn off your cell phones and all that, because they thought it was interfering. But watching this rhythm, I realized that it was blinking to the rhythm of London Bridge is Falling Down. And so I said, you know, do you want us to sing London Bridge is Falling Down? And the lights on the K2 meter went nuts. And so we all started singing London Bridge is Falling Down. And the lights on the K2 meter were going right with us, you know, perfectly in sync. And then when we got to the end, you know, my fair lady, it stopped and never turned back on. So we're like, oh, wow, this little girl just wanted us to sing this song. Fast forward, a couple years later, I was at the Stanley Hotel, and a woman came up to me and said, hey, I want you to hear this EVP. So I listened, and sure enough, there's this little girl singing London Bridge is Falling Down. And I said, where'd you catch this? And she said, in the pool room at the Queen Mary. Then I went to the Queen Mary, and I talked to the woman that ran all the paranormal tours and stuff there, and told her about that. And she's like, oh, yeah, we have report after report and recording after recording of London Bridge is Falling down there. How weird is that?
Yeah, it's definitely amazing that you were able to actually kind of figure out that that's what the lights were doing on the K2. You know, that kind of takes a little bit of deciphering, but it's amazing that you were actually able to respond to that in that moment in time and kind of go along with what the spirit wanted.
Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling when you can do that, when you can solve the mystery, even when it's a little one like that. But who knows what that meant to that little girl. But yeah, whenever I see the lights on the K2 meter, or you get knocks or things, I try to look deeper than just the surface. And you know, there's been times when I've been on military bases and you realize that it's coming in Morse code and then stuff like that. Yeah, it's fun.
That's one of the more interesting experiences that I've heard about aboard the ship, so that's very cool. I believe actually the psychic who kind of discovered her, Peter James, actually used to sing that to the little girl spirit in the pool area quite frequently.
Really? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes, so that was kind of like their thing, I'm pretty sure. So he would actually sing it to her and then she would call out back to him.
Interesting. So maybe she missed him. I don't know.
Yeah, he died, I think, in 2008. So if it was after that time, you know, he wasn't really around to talk to her anymore.
It was. Yeah, it was after that. Interesting.
So that's very, very cool.
Yes, here. Come hold my hand now, Jackie. Let me help you. Okay, talk to me again. I don't want to go away unless you know we're here with love. I'm here to help you. Jackie! Talk to me again, Jackie. She's singing.
Yeah, I hear her.
She's singing. Can I sing with you? London Bridge is falling down, falling down. Okay. London Bridge is falling down. Can you sing with me? Sing with me. Hello? Sarah. Can you sing with me? I want to go back, then I want to go back. Listen. Yes! I want to look. I'm looking. Talk to me, Jackie. Let me help you. London Bridge is falling down, falling down. Here?
This is author Alexandra Holzer, and you're listening to Ghost Host Sophia Temperilli.
Hi, this is Jeff Belanger, host of 30 Odd Minutes, founder of GhostVillage.com, and author of lots of your favorite paranormal books, and you're listening to the Ghost Host Sophia on LiveParanormal.com. Boo!
Hey, this is Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures, and you are listening to the Ghost Host Sophia Temperilli on LiveParanormal.com.
Congratulations to the Ghost Host, Sophia Temperilli, for celebrating 7 years of broadcasting on LiveParanormal.com.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Grant.
Glad to be here, glad to be here. That's really neat. I really had no idea that they sang London Bridge is Falling Down together. That just changes the whole story in my head. I've been blown away over the break, sorry.
No, it's totally cool. Yeah, it happened, I think, in the 90s, so it was a while ago that started, but the fact that you actually kind of had that communication after he passed on is really amazing, because it really shows that even as a ghost, she still retains the memory of all those years of interacting with him.
Well, that's interesting, because I had a story, an experience at Fort Mifflin that this reminds me of, where, you know, we think of these entities, a lot of people think of them as being, you know, locked in a loop, or, you know, stuck in a situation, or lost. But here's an example of potential, you know, with Peter James and this girl, a building a relationship and building a memory together that carried on after, you know, Peter passed on. I did an event at Fort Mifflin in Pennsylvania, and I was in this room with a bunch of, again, it was an event. I think there was probably like there were 8 ladies in this room. It was the torpedo room. And we were, again, having another awesome K2 session. Again, flawless communication, which this makes it sound like it happens more than it does. But it's kind of rare, but it was good. And this time it was like a 18-year-old or a boy who was in the Revolutionary War. And when you're at that fort, you know, you're hearing planes go overhead all the time, and we heard a plane. We asked him if he knew what the sound was, and he thought it was cannon fire. It was really neat. But anyway, to cut to the chase, all the ladies in the room, you know, they start asking if he has a significant other, a sweetheart, and you know, the lights say yes. And they all asked if she was okay, and the lights didn't do anything, which, you know, meant no, or like he didn't understand or whatever. He said no, and they of course all the ladies were like, oh no, they're all distraught.
Yeah.
And I said, hang on, ladies, just hang on. And I asked the entity again, I said, is your sweetheart doing well? And the lights went, yes. And I had to explain that the term okay didn't exist back then. And so I proceeded to tell the entity what okay meant, that meant agreeable, affirmation. And I said, do you understand what that means? And Light said, yes. And from that point on in the conversation, we were able to use the term okay. It was really neat to be able to teach a supposed entity new slang, It was pretty.
I know also another location that you will be investigating at upcoming is the Old Exchange Ghost Hunt event in Charleston, South Carolina, with yourself and feature film actor Chad Lindberg and Carol Cleveland of Haunt Me on February 16th. Can you tell us a little bit about the event and what everyone can expect from the location?
This is the first time that this location has been investigated like this. So I really don't know what to expect, and I think that's the exciting part. I'm kind of trying to go into it blind. Lindsay at Center Stage Events keeps trying to tell me about it, and I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I just want to get there and figure this thing out. But there's obviously you can't look it up without learning a little bit of history. But I want to know. I want to walk in there and hear what people are experiencing that are working there or there right now. I don't care what people have done 60 years ago. I want to know what the accounts are now, because then I feel like we can really do a real investigation and not just sit there and hope a ghost shows up, but debunk and disprove and uncover. And that, to me, is the most exciting part. And Chad Lindberg. He's a wonderful guy, great guy, and he investigates with so much heart. Like, the first time I investigated with him, I couldn't believe how normal he treated the entities. Like, he has inside jokes with some of them and stuff. It's really neat and refreshing to see someone not just treat him like a trick pony, He really forges relationships with them. And Carol Cleveland is phenomenally down to earth and a wonderful investigator, so it's really just going to be an awesome time.
Everyone, for tickets and details, visit centerstageevents.com. It definitely sounds like such a great event with such an amazing group of investigators. So I can't wait to see what you all capture.
Yeah, me too. We'll see.
And how did you initially actually start working with Lindsay Center of Center Stage Events?
So I actually met her a few years ago at a Paracon in Minnesota, I think. Michigan? I don't know. I get them all confused. But
yeah, same.
I don't know what my problem is, but she attended the event with her mother, and we were talking, and she had some issues she was dealing with paranormal wise, and we were talking with her and her mother, and we just clicked, and she was debating on if she wanted to go. She had done events before. She was debating on doing more event stuff or becoming like a cybersecurity person locked in a room somewhere. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I can't picture that as you. Like, why don't you be my assistant at this event and the next couple ones and see if you get a feel for the events in the paranormal field? Because a lot of people at that point were being represented by a guy who was actually trying to get out of it. So there's going to be a vacuum. And I said, Lindsay, you could probably represent people and do this really well. And sure enough, first event blew everybody's mind. Everybody loved what she did and how professional she was, which was kind of hard to find in the paranormal world, that level of professionalism. And then she said, I said, Lindsay, why don't you represent me, as my manager and stuff? And she's like, okay. So she started doing that, and as soon as word got out that she was doing that for me, everybody called her and said, can you do it for me too? Amy, Adam, Chip, Dustin, everybody, because they saw how good she was at doing it. And she's just a pro. She's really, really good. And you can see over the course of a year what she's kind of come out of nowhere, and she's really doing a bang-up job.
Well, that's definitely amazing, and she hosts such amazing events, so I can't wait to see many more upcoming events from her and Center Stage Events.
Yeah, they're going to be great.
I know we're coming towards the end of the show, though, so I want to thank you so much for coming on today, Grant.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you, and everyone, don't forget to check out Center Stage Events to see all of the locations Grant will be at upcoming.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Grant was such a great guest. I want to thank you all for listening today. The show definitely would not be possible without all of you, and I will talk to you guys again next week. Bye.
Hey, this is Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures, and you are listening to the Ghost Host Sophia Temperilli on LiveParanormal.com.